We did some turns.
Yeah, no, I think
Hey,
with the sounds of like the desk rattling.
that was nice. It was like an earthquake in my
Hey.
ears.
Yeah, no, great. Do you want to go outside and film it like that hurricane? Welcome back to my favorite roast cast. I'm your
Boy.
favorite roaster, Aaron and Sweeney.
I am a lean cut of roast.
I thought you were going to say like lean cuisine, like the frozen dinners.
I'm a hungry man.
I'm a lean cuisine.
Ty Turner.
Oh, sorry for the sound of swishing ice. Unless you like that kind of thing, in which case, welcome to the ASMR cast.
Aaron's bringing us all the good sounds today.
All of them. I'm just here for the noises. Sorry we didn't upload a podcast last week. Thank you for your patience. All of my pets fell ill at the exact same time, so I was at the vet for like 6 days. So, but it's all right. We're recovering. Welcome to the new apartment.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks.
Brand
right?
new.
So, I know, has a fresh apartment smell. Just kidding. Rat babies smell terrible because they don't know how to use the litter, so they stink. I like to tell them. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Rat babies.
How you?
That's like a cool
Hey, Ty,
band
did you
name.
ever?
Sorry, what?
Oh wait, we didn't do the thing. We didn't.
Yes.
Dang.
Let's do it.
I'm wondering. I have new internet now, so we might be more in sync, or maybe not.
So here's
ready.
the thing. I do it like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like that's kind of the count that I do. Is that what you do too? When I go 1, 2, 3, do you do it and 4?
My pace is like 1, 2, 3, snap, snap. Like that's my like.
1, 2, 3, snap, snap.
Yeah, I have like
Maybe
there's a
do
beat
you do
between the
4
three.
and 1, 2, 3, 4 and. Maybe that's why we're always off.
Actually, me. Yeah, you're
I
right.
was
I do
thinking
4.
about
Like so.
that.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 and. I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it.
1,
I'm ready.
2, 3. Oh God, that was
was
further away.
Oh no. For me, I'm like perfectly in sync. Then I was like, wait, that's how this works. It's always in sync for me.
I feel like I waited a full second for you that time.
Really?
Oh well. Oh well.
Excuse me. I mean, the sync always works, to be fair. So maybe.
You got the hot, you got the cold, the spray mode, whatever you need.
What?
The sync?
Oh, I see what you did. Welcome to Jokes Cast. We're your 2 favorite stand-up comedians.
Welcome to the comedy, folks. Today
So
we're doing
that was
puns.
good bit. Today we're talking about actually. Hey Ty, okay, so you know you do Taekwondo. Have you made the joke yet? Like Taekwondo, like have you? Okay, good, great. I would have been disappointed. It was an opportunity. I'm glad you took it.
Thank
Great.
you.
Shoot for the stars. Today we're talking about not being heterosexual. Welcome. We're not heterosexual. That's the whole podcast. I don't know, whatever the jazz music.
I don't think that's what our song sounds like.
No, not at all. I know there's a little like.
Yep, that
Actually, it's actually just recorder. And
it's
the Titanic music.
the girl from Ipanema. Tall and tan and young. You're like my mom when I show her something. Who is that? Is that one of your friends? I show her like a viral video. Like, no, who is that?
It's like literally like Michelle Obama. It's like, is that your friend? No, it's not my friend. Not everyone on the internet's my friend.
Oh my
or like
God.
you show them like a dog thing. They're like, oh, whose dog is that? I don't know.
Like I'd have to Google that. I don't know. Yeah, the girl from Ipanema is just the name of a song. It's not a girl that I
Who's
know.
that?
Who's that?
Who's Ipanema? Is that someone from your Taekwondo?
Holy shit. Oh my goodness. Today we're talking about not being straight because, well, here's the thing. This started from a tweet where I was telling everyone that I'm not straight, and just because I'm dating a girl, it doesn't make me any less pansexual, which was inspired by the comments in one of my more recent videos about straight pride, where I was like just talking about memes and talking about straight people, and a lot of people in the comments thought they were just owning the shit out of me by telling me, well, actually you're straight, so this and that. And I was like, well, I'm actually not.
Here's the thing about that, though.
Yeah, people were really like, how can you say this if you're straight? Or technically, aren't you straight, though? And then people would respond and be like, yes, he is, but he's transgender, so he's part of the community. I'm like, I'm not.
It's like you're trying to help, but you're not helping. But I also like the technically, like if we look at this scientifically, and they put like a graph, like their actual technical terms to it. Anyway,
oh my god,
have you made like maybe you should make like a really artsy coming out video, like a la BuzzFeed or type thing, you know?
No, I made a really memey coming out video where
that's on brand.
You know how I am. But I mean, I've talked about being pansexual in quite a few videos over the last few months. I mean, I know not everybody who watches my channel watches all of my videos, but I don't know. It seems like a big assumption to make about someone anyways, you know?
Yeah. But like the way that I think of it is like the guy from BuzzFeed was what his name isn't Ewan. That's not even a name, Aaron. What the hell is it? Eugene.
Eugene, yeah.
In my head, that's how I read it. Anyway, Eugene. I think his name is Eugene. Fuck.
It is Eugene. Yeah.
Ewan. Eugene. He was like open about the fact that he was queer, but like until he made that video, people weren't.
It was pretty ambiguous.
Acknowledge it as. Yeah, I guess people didn't acknowledge it as coming out, even though like in almost every video I watched with him, I'm pretty sure he's mentioned like that he's not straight. So I'm like, how did people not know? Like he was out. It's not like I'm saying like presume, but I'm like he says it a lot. So I'm like maybe they just need like a really formal.
Well, no, he never really formally said. Well, I mean, he never talked about it. Like he would talk about like queer topics or LGBT stuff, but you know, even in the like the making of or the behind the scenes of his coming out music video or dance video or whatever you would consider that, he does say like, yeah, I've never openly said this online before. I've just kind of been.
I don't remember what video it was that I was watching that he was like, yeah, so you know, because I'm gay, and I was like, oh, cool, I didn't know. Huh. So I'm like, where did I'm pretty sure it was like one of the Try Guy videos. But anyway, I don't.
I've also heard him make like a lot of gay jokes about himself that weren't like rude towards gay things, but just like something like, yeah, I think it was something to the extent of like, if I swallow it means he's really good or something like that, where I was like, oh, tight, but never explicitly say he was gay. That might have even been after. I don't fucking know. I have no timeline in my mind.
I feel that.
But I always thought that Eugene would be not coming out as gay, but be coming out as trans. But that's a problematic thing to say, right?
Yeah, because he's into drag, but like to assume that drag queens are the same. Yeah, I totally get yeah, why that would be problematic. So I prepared some questions. If you're ready for the quests.
Well, it's not necessarily just the drag thing. It was, I think, because of the way that he had talked about something with gender and like exploring gender and stuff. Because like the drag thing, I was aware of that before I ever heard him talk about gender in a certain way that made me think, oh, wow, maybe this person is, you know, not cis, but maybe, you know, I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, definitely conflating drag queens to trans women is not a good thing.
Yeah. I don't know enough about him, which is odd because I'm like, in all these videos, but I'm like, it just every once in a while you click on one BuzzFeed video and you just let them keep going until you fall asleep. Or maybe that's just me. So yeah, in those videos. But otherwise, I'm like, I don't really know much about him other than like when I watched the dance video, I was like, oh, cool, he's into drag. That's sick. I did not know that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people came out this season. This Pride.
This season. It's like
this
hunting season. We got a lot of good
like this.
catches.
I feel like maybe because it's the 50th anniversary of Stonewall that like maybe this Pride season was a little more intense, but I don't know.
I think it's also
maybe
because
I'm just
like,
oblivious.
Like right now in 2019, just LGBT stuff is so widespread and so mainstream and so popular that maybe people who did struggle with it for various reasons for so long are now like, okay, now, you know, I don't feel like I will get online adversity to talking about this now. But I thought that was really cool too. Lil Nas
really
X.
cool. Like,
is that the guy that sings Old Town Road? Is that his name?
I don't know what Old Town Road is. Which road is that? Is that the one in your house?
You don't know that? I'm going to take my horse down the Old Town Road with Billy Ray Cyrus. Oh,
Is it the Ride Till
bro.
I Can't No More? Is that the one?
Yeah.
I've only ever heard James Charles sing it being reviewed by that guy who reviews people who sing. Like, that's how far down the rabbit hole. It's the
That's
only
at
time I've
least
ever heard
6
the
steps.
song.
Damn.
But yes, I'm familiar with that song in that one context. So he's gay too?
Yeah. Apparently he was already kind of open about it, but he just like formally announced it and was like, I thought you guys knew. But he was open about it before blowing up. And so now since blowing up, he's talked about it.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
Nice. It was a pretty powerful Pride season. I'm glad. Season.
And and both Dan and Phil came out, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, again, didn't know, like, I thought because they had such a strong queer following, I kind of just assumed they were together, which is problematic on my end, because why would I assume that? But I think because so many people shipped them, I just
Right.
thought that they were actually together. Like, I've never watched any of their videos, so I was like, is this gay couple coming out as gay? Like, I thought that was their whole content, that they were a gay couple. So I was like, wow, I'm old
That's funny.
and out of touch. So yeah,
Yes, sir.
cool stuff. So in your tweet, where you said like, hey, don't assume that I'm heterosexual, you added that like it's the opposite of the problem you had in high school, and I was like, that's interesting, you should elaborate on that. So I'm assuming in high school everyone thought you were gay, and now you're like, now everyone thinks that I'm straight, and you're like,
Right. Yes, exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, they were right, but I didn't tell them about it. So, I mean, just like always getting, I think more of it was my attitude. Like, I didn't want people to call me gay or like say that I was into girls and stuff because I was just like worried about it because of where I went to school. And now I feel like the same way about people calling me straight, where I'm like, I am not straight, you know, just a little bit offended by that. Even though back then I was like, it's true, I am gay, but I think that's why it upset me so much, because I was in a lot of denial about my identity and sexuality.
yeah, no, I get that. I like had friends when I was like 14, and my mom would be like, is that your girlfriend? And I'm like, why do you always think I'm gay? Like, since I was young, I'm like, why do you constantly think I'm gay? And now I get it, that's like, she picked up on the fact that I was trans, but her only queer thing is like, oh, I guess my kid must be gay. And I was like, joke's on you, you were wrong.
Got him.
Got him. For me, like, growing up, everyone just assumed that I was gay. Like, trigger warning, foul language toward gay women. But, like, everyone would always call me a dyke. Like, I could be in math class, and this one fucking ass was like, oh, dyke. I'm like, it's like 11 a.m., sir. But now, for some reason, after I transitioned, everyone just assumed that I was, like, strictly, like, only into men. Like, everyone just assumes I'm gay now. And I'm like, do I just, like, give out gay energy regardless of my own like gender identity or presentation? Everyone's just like gay. I'm like, I'm queer. I don't really care about, like, legit when it comes to who I'm dating. I'm like, I don't care about gender. Yes, I've only had serious relationships in the past with women, but it's because I haven't had that many serious relationships. So it's like, you know, of the 3 people. So
I feel
casual
that.
relationships have been like here and there, but
Yeah, I think because I've only been public about like dating girls. I actually haven't dated a guy since starting my transition, but I've been with guys. But I haven't like publicly, openly dated one. And God, why would I? Men are the worst. No, I'm just kidding.
right? Yeah, heck, those guys.
It sounds like a bad plan, but I'm attracted to men.
I find something interesting. A lot of people are just like, oh, if you take testosterone, better watch out. It's going to make you gay. And I'm like, it's not. It doesn't. Here's my theory. All right. That's probably the fact. I feel like a lot of folk, like for me at least, when I was identifying or at least presenting as female, I wouldn't have dated a guy not because I'm like not attracted to them, but because the dynamic of the relationship would have been heterosexual, making me the girl in the relationship, whereas when I was dating women, there was no like, you're this gender, like it was a non-binary relationship type thing. Like the relationship wasn't dependent on you being this gender paired with that gender. It was just, you're just dating a person, at least for me. So after I transitioned, I was comfortable being with men because I wasn't their girlfriend. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
totally.
when I was dating women, I was their partner. It wasn't about like you being their girl. Like, but if I would have dated a guy, it's like so many of them are so fragile, and it's so like, and then if you transition, they're like, does that make me gay? It's like, well, if you keep dating me, yeah, pretty. If I'm male and that doesn't make you gay, but it makes our relation like not a woman. So yeah, that was it for me. I was like, it's not about, like, I understood after I transitioned. I'm like, oh no, it's not about testosterone making you gay. It's just the relationship dynamic is just different, So anyway,
Right. Well,
that's my hot take.
for me, I don't even know if it's the same because I legit wasn't attracted to men before. And I just, like, it could have been because I was uncomfortable with myself, but I just had, like, no desire in any way to, like, be with a dude, to kiss a dude, to do anything with a guy. It was just, like, an uncomfortable thing for me. And then, like, a few years into transition, I just became curious about it. And then, like, within the last year or two, I've, just explored that and become aware that, like, I really don't care about gender and coming to terms with being transsexual. Or, oh my God.
Okay. I was gonna make a joke, then I was like, oh, I don't want to call out any trans people. I was like, okay.
No,
cool.
no. Pansexual.
Transsexual.
Oh, God.
My, like, fight or flight. It was like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. Whoever wants, you could identify that way if you want to. It's just such a, like, oh, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. No, pansexual.
A transgender.
It's just so clinical. It's such a clinical term that I would use.
Transsexual is what, like, my white balding doctor says to me from across the desk, and you just sort of like, yeah, okay, you just nod and you're like, whatever.
Oh my God.
So yeah, when you became a transsexual, became like transformed.
I stepped into the shoes and I became a transsexual. Oh Christ. But no, yeah, I came to terms with being pansexual over the last year or so because I was just like, or I guess 2 years. In 2016, I was like, I think I might be pan because it turns out that, gender or sex or any of it doesn't really matter to me these days. I don't know. I have no theories on why that is. I just think that it happened.
I have a second theory, at least for myself.
I want to hear it.
My second theory, well, I have a couple, not to talk about me, I'm saying, like, if I would turn that around, there's the whole, like, I'm asexual, so I'm not sexually attracted to anyone. I find people aesthetically attractive the same way that I find plants aesthetically appealing. They just look nice, but I have no desire. Like, nothing happens physiologically that makes me, like, no, I wouldn't.
So
that's too
probably not
like
the same
that
thing.
Relationship would become codependent. No,
I'm just kidding.
Listen.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But it's just like, for me, I'm just like, I guess it's just having transitioned, I kind of like broke through a lot of barriers when it comes to gender in my head. I realized I'm like, wow, okay. Like, I'm not saying gender isn't real. I understand that, like, a lot of gender is innate. It's something we feel, but it made me realize that, like, physically, I don't care what parts a person has. And that identity could be fluid, it could change, and that, like, if I'm dating someone and then they transition, it wouldn't change anything for me. So I was like, oh, I don't really care about gender, like, at all. The one thing is I'm kind of like, would I ever be able to be in a serious relationship with a cis man? I don't know, because there's so much there that I'm like, I just feel like I would be less understood.
Right.
Maybe it's just a big assumption, but haven't found a cis man that I've gotten along with well enough to be like, we could share a living space. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. But, there was something, sorry, I know that was gross for the neck cracking. My apologies. There was something I wanted to bring up, but I don't even know how to, like, phrase it. It has to do with being intimate with, like, there's being intimate with men, but, like, being intimate with cis men, for me, kind of helped a bit with dysphoria. Like, it wasn't a whole bunch of, like, it wasn't, like, not that it matters how many people you're with, but it was just, like, sometimes, how do I explain this? Also, trigger warning, sex, just before I get it, like, into details. In a platonic way, touching, like, a friend's Ween, who is a cis male, someone who identifies as male and is cis, somehow was like living vicariously through them for me, like in a really platonic way. Like I don't even know how to explain it, but it like alleviated my dysphoria a bit.
Totally.
And it was very, it was like not weird, but like interesting. I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Whenever I first started, like, well, before I even knew, or maybe before I became attracted to men, I don't know what happened there, but there was a short period where I was like, I'm not attracted to that, but I am curious about it. And so like, I was just like, I kind of just want to see a dick and see what that's about, you know?
Yeah.
And it was cool. And it wasn't like a sexual thing. Like one of my friends just showed me his dick and I was like, oh, neat, you know? And that was that. And then like fast forward 2 years later, now I am, maybe it was just a process of becoming comfortable with that. But I also feel like I have different kinds of attractions to different people. Like I consider myself pansexual, but also I'm like almost exclusively romantically attracted to women. That's, I think, one of the reasons why I wouldn't want to date a guy, because I'm pretty much only sexually attracted to men and not really like the intimacy. Like I don't want to cuddle a guy, you know?
I understand that 100%. Yeah. Because I do, like I said, I don't have physical, like sexual attraction. I don't have toward anyone. It's just not a thing for me. I don't understand. Not that I don't understand it. Of course I understand it in a technical way, but I'm saying like in a first hand kind of way, I'm like, just doesn't happen for me. But I do experience like romantic attraction and like, I mean, I don't enjoy intimacy a whole lot. Oftentimes I'm just like, I want to levitate outside of my body. So having someone else touching my body, I'm like, I don't even want to touch my own body. So I'm like, I just want to be like on the walls.
It just feels hot when someone's like touching you too much.
Oh my, have you ever had someone like open hand touch your knee? It's the worst. It is. I think all the heat in my body escapes through my knees. Like maybe there's ventilation through my knees. But like when someone's like just open hand on my bare knee, I'm like, I can't breathe. It's like your hand is in my lungs. I don't know why. Anyway, but like same, I get it when it comes to like romantic attraction. I could find a guy aesthetically pleasing and be like, I want to look like that. And I would also like, I don't care. Again, it's like if Karina would come out tomorrow and be like, actually, I don't identify as female. I'd be like, I don't, that's fine. Like, I don't actually care about the gender of the person. But I get the whole, like, I've never felt compelled to cuddle a man. But then again, I've never felt compelled to cuddle anyone. So maybe that's just, I don't.
I think the thing is I could cuddle a girl for sure. And like, if the room is cool. My biggest thing is like, I think about cuddling, I just feel hot. But
yeah, exactly. Like I'm already sweating. I can't do this.
If the fan is on and, like it's not just like bare skin to skin where it's going to stick together, that kind of stuff. Like there are situations where definitely I would enjoy cuddling a girl, but I don't think that I would enjoy cuddling a guy in any scenario. It's just like, I think I just feel uncomfortable.
I think that's kind of my, like, I don't know if I'd be able to date any guy. Like cis men particularly is difficult for me to imagine being in a serious relationship with, because in my personal encounters, I've never met a cis man who hasn't reached some wall of ignorance where they think they get it and they don't. Right. And then they're explaining why you don't get that they get it. And you're like, I just want to punch you across a football field, like just into the sun. But it might be my personal experience. But, I don't want to hashtag not all men. Like I don't want to be that guy. And I also don't want to create this wall between like trans men and cis men. It's just for me, in my experience with trans men that I've met, granted you could transition at any age. So maybe it's just because I only know people who've transitioned in their later years, like late teens is the earliest that I've known. Typically with that prior life experience, there's just this understanding where like we oftentimes will get why it's like, why is that thing annoying or aggravating? It's like, well, because like I understand firsthand what mansplaining is, or like there's some things that it's like you could understand it but never firsthand. I don't know. Anyway, that's when I think about it. But I've never been in a serious relationship with a guy. I've been in like 2 not so serious relationships, but like I've never lived with a guy.
Right.
So that's kind of the way I'm differentiating it.
Oh, same. And it's so hard, like, for me, the mansplaining thing and, like, the privilege, I think maybe that's a big part of, maybe I don't know. I don't think that's why I'm not romantically attracted to guys, but whenever I think about dating a guy, like that's where my mind goes to, is like that day-to-day stuff where they don't mean anything by it, or like, you know, a cis guy. I don't know. Trans guys too, probably. Like I've been mansplained to by plenty of trans guys, so that's
Yeah.
in general. Just I think men, obviously trans guys have, you know, like you said, the ones that transition later and were socialized a certain way have the know-how to like avoid that stuff or recognize it. But if it's never called out, and I mean I do it too, like I will literally notice myself mansplaining or like I don't know anything, and Christy's so patient with me, and I'm like, oh my god, I just realized that I was doing this, I'm sorry. You know.
Yeah, I'm used to, like, sometimes my girlfriend will ask me for advice or tell me a story, and then she'll be like, well, what do you think? And then I'll be like, well, here's what I think about the situation. But then the other day I caught her like telling me a story about something at work, and I'm like, here's what I would have done. And I was like, oh wait, I was like, I'm sorry, I was about to super mansplain that to you. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Do you want advice on this? Do you like, before I started, she's like, yeah, no, I'm good with it. But it was like such a funny moment because we both stopped. Like, who starts a sentence that way? Like, well, I get that that's what you did, but here's what I, the big mighty man, would have done. I was like, oh, like, I'm so sorry. That is not at all the way that I was trying. It was more in a like, here, would you like my advice on this situation, given the experience that I have in navigating like conflicts between like coworkers and stuff like it wasn't to be like, here's my opinion. So right. Yeah, but it's funny though, because it's like, had I not been aware of that, then it's like, I feel like some trans guys don't realize that for some of us, depending on how we go about our transition, could gain male privilege, which is a bit of a controversial thing, because then people are like, well, then you're erasing the past that I had and the oppression. But it's like, you can, in this case, gain male privilege, because I go outside and most people don't know that I'm trans. They'll talk to me instead of talking to my girlfriend. And if I don't remain aware of those things, excuse me, it's hard to, you could become oppressive because now you're male. Society is viewing you and treating you as male. Then the way that the systemic oppression works is that like you now have this oppressive power and you have to be aware of it and put yourself back in your place. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like when I was at like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just agreeing with you. You can say, you go.
I was just going to say, like, when I was identifying as female and I was working at my past job, like at the bank, during meetings and stuff like that, often I would have to try to talk louder, or I would have to try to like interject. It's like you have to try to make the space for, or at least for me in that corporate environment, I had to try to make the space for myself. But now it's like I can't just insert myself into conversations like that, because it's no longer about like, it's like I'm not oppressed in that way. So if I'm doing that, there's a chance that I could be talking over someone else. Like it's just a whole thing that I'm like, oh, interesting. Relearning social patterns and stuff like that. Not that I've ever been a super assertive or insertive person, but it's just one of those things to keep in mind, you know?
Definitely. I can speak a little bit on that with an experience I had a few years ago. I was definitely on testosterone, passing as male, and my sister had come to visit, and we were going to the lake with my grandparents with their boat, and my sister used to live in Hawaii, and her boyfriend that she had previously was like a captain, and he would captain these like really fancy boats and take like rich people out and take them on tours and stuff in these boats to try to sell them. So she had a lot of experience with boats. She used to actually race boats as well, or she was on like a racing team in this boats, and I don't know how many times she did it, but you know, something she did. So a lot of experience with boats. I, however, never driven a boat. And my grandpa gave me the keys to the boat, and he's like, here you go, Ty, you know, get in it and back it into the water or something like that. And he was going to back the trailer into the water, and then I was supposed to like drive the boat. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. No. And he was like, no, you got it. You can do it. And Cassie was like, hey, I can do it if you want me to, Pap. And he's like, no, I'll let Ty do it. He can do it. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And Cassie again was like, I can do it. Just let me take the boat off. He goes, nah, you're going to drive it. You're going to crash it. This and that. Like basically telling her that she couldn't do it and that I could. Also, mind you, I didn't even have a driver's license at this time. Like, I'm like, I can't even drive a car. I definitely can't drive a boat. And after all that happened, I don't know, we just went about our day. I did it. It was scary. Like, and then later I was like, wow, I can't believe like that blatant sexism. Like, I can't believe I already have this privilege. And Cassie was like, oh my God, that's totally what that was. You know? And so like, she's so used to it. And I think that my family is like very traditional and stuff that like, that's kind of just, I mean, it's not okay, but that's kind of how we were raised, and what everyone's used to is like that, to where like she didn't even comprehend that that's what that was, you know? And so it took me pointing it out to be like, yeah, I think that's what was happening. And she was like, oh my God, you're right. So
it's so weird, though.
It's weird having that, yeah, like gaining that.
Because then you're like, at least for me, it's this like nothing has changed other than like some things outwardly, but otherwise, like I didn't acquire the knowledge to drive a boat overnight. I don't understand what has qualified me for this.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Shit's strange.
Yeah, no, so some of the things I'm like, I sometimes understand where like my family will get it from. They're like, lift this heavy thing. I'm like, I still have EDS friends, but I get that you assume that because I look stronger, I must, like, I kind of, but then there are other things like, I don't know. Oh, you could fix this computer, right? And I'm like, why? Like, is it just because my brother's super tech savvy and my dad was super tech savvy? But I'm like, you forget that I was socialized this way, and that I always got like the hand-me-down broken electronics because like girls don't need fast computers. And it's like I didn't overnight like, oh, I took testosterone, now I have all of the knowledge of all of my past male ancestors. Like, it doesn't work that way. I guess because I guess they're so used to, let's say in your case with the boats, they're so used to like it's passed down from like father to son, you know, over and over again, that they're like, well, of course you know how to do this. But then they forget that like, nobody taught me how to do this. I don't just, you know, like the Avatar, go into like the cis male state, my eyes start to glow and I have all of the power. Like all of a sudden it's like, no, I still don't know how to do this.
Oh my God.
I just there's a stain on my shirt. How embarrassing. It's okay.
Uh-oh.
That's fine.
That's fine.
So I'm reading my chicken scratch writing.
That's okay.
Oh, my other question was going to be about like coming out, because there's the like, I think you followed a similar timeline to me where it's like presented as female, came out as queer, then it's like, then came out as trans, and now again is queer. It's like, was there, by the time you got to the third step, did you come out again, or are you just like, fuck it? Because that's where
I think I was mostly just like, fuck it. I tweeted it because I had known it for a long time. So I didn't even really come out. I would just like tell people if it came up, it'd be like, oh yeah, I'm pansexual, because I don't really give a fuck, you know? It's not like something that plays a huge role in my identity like it did before.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm pan. And then I tweeted about it and I was like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, I'm pansexual. Just because I was like, I didn't even realize that I hadn't talked about it online. And so when I did, I tweeted it and people were like, wow, yay. And then I talked about it in my YouTube video in just a vlog, like in passing. I was like, oh yeah, hey guys, I'm pansexual. And I named the vlog Coming Out, but like that portion of the vlog was not like, it wasn't very significant. So that is just sort of, it was mostly like a thing that happened in passing because I didn't really consciously think to do it. I think the only reason I really did talk about being pan was just so that people would, I don't know, because I present so like masculine and I seem very like cis het, or at least, you know, I used to a lot more probably, that I thought it'd be good for me to be like, hey guys, by the way, I'm not straight, you know, and just be like visible in that sense. But it wasn't really something that I felt like for myself I needed to do.
Yeah, I understand that. It's definitely helpful in the sense that like it gives visibility, and like with so many like young trans folk looking up to you, sometimes it helps with the like internalized queer phobia or internalized homophobia that like I had a lot of internalized homophobia when I came out as trans, because I was like, well, if I want to be a man, like it helps when this person that you look up to is the like, this is what I want to reach when I transition. You're like, oh, well, he's queer. Well, that makes me feel a lot better about my queerness. So yeah, I could see how that was a like less for you, more for others thing. And like representation is just, it's beautiful. It's perfect. It's important.
Right. What about you?
So I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, do I just have amnesia at times? Like I forget a lot of things. Like I'm like, yeah, I came out and it was this, but I forget, and then I remember later and I'm like, huh. I remember when I came out to my mom when I was a teenager, and I was just like, I like girls. She was like, well, are you bisexual? I was like, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Because I thought that I was bi. That's what I came out as. And then she was just like, well, no, bisexual people are just confused. It's just like, oh, you just want to have sex with everyone. It's not, nobody's actually bisexual. They just need attention. So I internalized that.
Oh, that sucks.
Eat it all up. Yeah, and I was like, okay, I guess I only like women. But like, I have known my entire life that I'm good with both. I always have been. There's never been like, again, there's not the like physical attraction thing. It's just the like, I'm good with dating both. I have no problem with either of those, like at all. But yeah, I just internalized a whole bunch of that. And then even now I'm like, I've always been afraid that like if I get into a relationship with someone who is not a woman, that like my parents will judge me and I'll be shunned again. Because like I full on went through like I was in foster care. Like I've been abandoned. And then from that foster family was abandoned by them because they found out that I was queer and I was dating their daughter. So like I just have so much like fear of rejection when it comes to my sexuality that I'm like, I love my partner to death and I'm so happy that I'm with Karina. But there's also a homophobic side of me that's like relieved that it's Karina, which makes me feel bad about a lot of things. Like it makes me feel like bad that I hide that part of myself so much. And it's weird because it's not like I hide it from my family. Like I told my mom, like, I don't give a shit who I date when it comes to like, I really don't care about gender. I've also like flat out told them like, I also don't feel sexual attraction. I've like tried to explain to them what asexuality is, but sometimes some family members do this cute thing where they pretend you didn't say anything. And you could tell them 100 times that you're like flat out, like, I could walk to the door, like dick in each hand, and like, well, I mean, not that like dick. I mean, you understand what I'm saying. I should say I could walk to her door, man on each arm, because that's a lot more inclusive. And I'm so sorry about that. Sometimes you have the defaults in your head, and you're like, oh, why? And she would still be like, oh, are these your friends? And it's like, so sometimes you could try to come out all you want, but I've reached a point where I'm like, honestly,
you could be inside him, and she'd be like, they're best friends.
Literally. It's like, oh, you're just giving a platonic enema. It's like, what? I don't understand, man. Even when I was dating women and presenting as female, like I would always get the like, so how's your friend? I'm like, girlfriend. We live together.
Oh,
we're like, I guess Italians and queerness, man. I don't know.
I think one thing that also kind of, I guess it's just more internalized transphobia or just general transphobia is the whole thing of like, why would you transition to be gay? Why not just stay a girl if you like men because men want girls and all this shit? Like, yeah, that's one of the things that, I mean, I still hear that so often from people who are mostly just well-meaning cis people who just don't get it. And they just think that like trans is like the next step. It's like extra hella gay. But I'm like, just like, cis people can be gay, trans people can also be gay. And it's obvious. It's like the basic, I think, step one when learning about trans stuff is that like gender and sexuality are not the same thing. And it almost blows my mind every single time I have to have that conversation, because I'm like, wow, it's been so long since I thought like that,
Yeah. I have tried to when I was young, I didn't understand a lot of that stuff. Like I grew up in such a closed-minded Italian community. Like I forget how bad it was sometimes. And I'm like, oh, yikes. Like I was remembering the other day a conversation with my friends where they're just like, did you know that Lady Gaga is actually a man? And I was like,
what is this, 2007?
And right. And they were like showing these pictures with like, it's like grainy zoomed in with like a red circle. And I just remembered that the other day. And I'm like, first of all, assuming someone is trans is not the same as assuming everything about that is wrong. You shouldn't assume, like, I don't even know where to start. Just all of it is wrong. But I'm like, shit, that was like so normal when I grew up. And that's scary. Mm-hmm. But shit, where was I going with that? Damn, where was I going with that? You had asked me a question.
Gender and sexuality not being the same thing and how many people conflate them.
Thank you. I remember when I was younger, I didn't understand. I think it was a trans woman who was a lesbian, and I was like, I don't get it. And like, I didn't understand. And the way that it made sense in my head was I thought, it's all homophobia. I thought that people must hate being gay. So to transition would make your life easier because then you would be heterosexual. So why transition? It like wouldn't the desirable outcome be like to be heterosexual? So if you don't transition, then you get to be heterosexual. You get to date the opposite gender, and you're more desirable. Like that's how it made sense in my head.
Right.
Meanwhile, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's like the way you feel about yourself doesn't affect the way that you feel about it. Like it's just everything about it was wrong. So I try to explain that to people, but they just don't get it. They're like, but if you're, let's say, a gay man, then it's like if you transition into a woman, then you get to date men and be normal. It's like no, everything about that was wrong. It's not
right.
It's not like that.
The whole goal is to be cishet, and that's what they're convinced of.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the same problematic thinking that's like everyone needs to pass, and like the highest compliment is you look cis. Like I know that people are trying to be nice, and yes, I do want to pass. Me personally, I want to pass as a man because I am a man, and so I want to be seen as a man. You know, whatever society, all that shit. We live in a society, but I'm like, I don't know how to respond to you, and I don't want to shut you down. I don't want to make you feel bad. Like a lot of my time communicating with cis people is just trying to navigate like how much of this, because it's about what they are intending, you know, a lot is nice. And so I'm like, I want to recognize that you are being nice to me while also help you and educate you so that you're not being nice to other trans people in this way, you know?
Yeah. But it's frustrating because oftentimes, no matter, you could be as nice as you want about it, you're a lot of the time going to get that like arms thrown up in the air. Like, okay, I guess I'll never try to be nice again. Yeah, I guess I can't talk to trans people. Then there's the army of other cis people being like, oh, you know what they meant. And it's like, it's not about that. If nobody ever tells them that this is inappropriate, they won't know. So I'm just trying to tell them. But then they're mad at you for telling them. It's like, why are their feelings so delicate? I don't understand. Anyway, it's so hard to call folk out, and I this is something that's like along any spectrum of like privilege and oppression, where it's like it's hard to call white people out because they get so offended, like, but I'm not racist. It's like, okay, but
yeah, they're like, if I have white privilege, then
like,
where's all my money from the government and my free house and all this shit? And I'm like,
yeah. And then it's like, I'm disabled, and able-bodied people of color still treat me badly, even though I'm white, because I'm disabled. And it's like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. Like, first of all, did you ever consider that there are disabled people of color, and that maybe they are not like your privilege? Sometimes is not about you necessarily benefiting, but about you not what's it called? Not taking a hit, I guess, like not suffering. Like if I go to the doctor, 99% of the time, they're not going to assume that I'm there for opioids or like that I'm trying to, like, they will treat me and take my pain a lot more seriously than a person of color. That's just hands down. There are some doctors that still think that black folk don't feel the same level of pain as we do. Like, it's a real thing. For a long time, they thought that like black people of color didn't feel any pain at all. Like that was a thing in the medical community, but to this day they still, like, some doctors will administer less pain medicine because they think that they have more natural painkillers. I'm like, that's just racist. It's not real. But I was trying to explain this to someone where I'm like, okay, like your privilege sometimes means that you're just not taking a hit for your whiteness is just you not being down here, but I don't know how to, it's really hard to explain.
And you can't perceive it without comparing yourself to them, but you want to compare yourself to people who are in a better off situation. Like, I can't possibly have privilege because some people are rich. Like,
it's like, it's not right. So I've had one person compare themselves to Kanye West. I'm like, how did we get here?
Oh my God.
Like, it's just, and it's like systemic racial inequality isn't about a one-on-one, like me versus Kanye. Like, that's not the way it works. It's just about like, it's exhausting. I can't.
The worst one.
It's exhausting, and I'm white. How do others feel? Anyway,
the worst one that I've heard is about Obama. Like, well, you know, I don't even know what it was, but it's like, how do I have white privilege if like a black guy is the president? Like, that's not, like, a black guy can be the president. They could do anything. I don't have privilege. And I'm like, how many black presidents have there been? Count them.
Yeah, like even like exactly. And then it's like, and how many of those like white presidents have had their nationality questioned, have had to prove where they're born with their birth certificate, like that. If we're gonna get on a personal basis, then there's that. But then it's like in a systemic, it's like the odds of a person of color becoming president versus your odds as, you know, Chad. You get what I'm saying? It's just like the odds are stacked in your favor because historically it's all been, you know, white men who've been president. And it's like,
Yeah.
then there's generational wealth. And even if you came from an unwealthy family, it's just like even segregation of neighborhoods in like the US is really bad. And like being in a lower income district, not like going to a school that doesn't have as much funding. Like it's a whole thing. You know what systemic means?
Right,
I mean,
right. The entire
then it's
system
like-
is against you and has been for years.
Yeah, or like, you know, when you feel scared, you call the cops and that makes you feel better. But it's like, you know, even just being able to call the cops and feel safe is in and of itself a privilege. Even though you don't think you're gaining anything from it, you're not losing anything from it. And
Right.
that in and of itself is the privilege, that lack of fear, the lack of even having to be aware like that. Anyway, that's a whole...
Two white guys
Wow.
explain white privilege. Oh, shit.
I think it's important to talk about, like, for the
Definitely.
longest time, I've felt like almost like I can't talk about it because I don't want to overstep. I was like trying to explain something like this at work once because I was in charge of a lot of the like diversity teams at work, and I was explaining cultural appropriation, and there was one black guy who worked on our floor, which, okay, nobody sees a problem with that one black guy. And he was just like, I think that cultural appropriation isn't real. And I just kind of got in this space where I'm like, it's not my, like, okay. I'm like, I can't argue I'm going to explain to you how and why you're oppressed. So I was like, I just shut my mouth and I was like, yeah, well, I'm not going to, like, it's definitely not my goddamn place. But it made me feel like kind of like, I don't know if I could talk about this, but then I realized I'm like, it's just, I could still address other white folk. Like that's still, I think that it's helpful for sometimes a lot of other white folk won't be as defensive if it's coming from
A white person, yeah.
yeah, because it's just so many of us need to be coddled where it's like, oh, don't worry, we know you're not a bad person. It's like, what? It's exhausting to be around you. But yeah, I've just realized like I felt kind of like I'm white-splaining for a long time, but then I realized it's because it's just my audience to address are other white folk and like trying to get them to like be more aware.
Yeah, totally.
It's definitely not my place to be explaining to other people of color how and why and if they're oppressed. I'm like, honestly, I'm like, I'm not gonna get near that. That's not like, it's not my place to explain that in my opinion. So that's my like tightrope that I try to walk when I'm trying to talk about this stuff, because I don't want to be dead silent, because I'm like, that's not how change happens, but also don't want to white-splain. That's not, yeah, that's the whole thing.
So this has been our podcast about not being heterosexual.
Welcome to the oppression cast, I guess.
We
I don't
should
even know
call
how
it
long
that.
we've been filming for.
We've been going for 50
oppression
minutes.
cast.
Do you want to try to find you want me to look for a quiz?
A quiz? Sure. Just what should it be like? What sexuality are you, or is that going to be like maybe problematic?
I think we might have already taken one of those. Oh, no, we didn't. I tried to take one on my channel and it was boring. Let me see if there's a BuzzFeed quiz about it, because, you know, we got to stay brand loyal. Where do you fall on the Kinsey scale? I don't know what the Kinsey scale is.
What?
Oh, for measuring human
I have one that's
sexuality.
called "How Gay Are You?"
There we go. Let's get that.
A BuzzFeed one. Okay, cool. I'm gonna send this to you. Hang on. How gay are you?
On a,
I hope it's just a mood board of like Ty Turner.
yeah, on a scale of Ned to Eugene, how gay are you? Maybe they'll do that.
Oh man, these questions are already like the first question. Did you open it? It's choose a color.
Oh.
I'm gonna choose blue.
Why would they say all the normal colors and then instead of purple they say
And then
lilac? Fuck.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, hey, I'm not gonna pick a Beyonce.
I'm red. Pick a Beyonce.
Flawless Beyonce, Single Ladies Beyonce, Run the World Beyonce, Drunk in Love Beyonce, Crazy in Love Beyonce. To be honest, I'm not into Beyonce.
I like Drunk in Love. I like that song.
I can go with Run the World.
Nice.
Do you enjoy consensual sexual experiences with or feeling a sexual attraction to members of the same sex as yourself?
See, this is just the entire quiz. They're not even being clever about it. They said, are you gay?
Like, at all. It's just like, hey, which of these outfits looks better on me? Also, are you gay?
Well, we've tallied up the answers. Okay.
shit. There's this, and it's also like there's so
Sexual.
many problems.
Yeah,
Like,
because you.
yeah, and then the like also complete absence of like asexuality and like I mean the whole thing is kind of like which CEO? Okay, officer. Like, like hey, hello, fellow kids, but like gay version.
But gay,
I'm
yeah.
gonna put. What do I put? Like now and then.
I don't know. Maybe you should do what? Because it's like no. What is sexual?
Yeah, I'm gonna put. You know what? I'm gonna put. What?
I'm doing quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay, good. What city would you most like to live in? New York, London, Paris, San Francisco, Tokyo, or Moscow?
Oh wow.
Part of me wants to say Tokyo, but then I'm just like, I know that that's just like romanticizing Japanese culture because have I been to Tokyo? No. How much do I know about Tokyo? Not much, except what I see on like travel vloggers
Right.
videos.
Yeah.
So that's definitely not an accurate portrayal, but still, that's where I want to go. But do I want to live there? I don't know.
I've only been to New
wanna-
York, and I don't think I'd want to live there because it gets so cold. I'm gonna do San Francisco.
I'm torn between London and Tokyo, but it rains a lot in London. But I'm going to go with London.
Do
Why? 'Cause
Tokyo.
I don't speak Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Do I do Tokyo?
I mean, it seems like you're leaning towards Tokyo. Like, if you haven't, have you been to all of the other ones except for Tokyo?
No, I haven't. I've only been to New York and San Francisco,
So yeah.
both of which I'm not a fan
I
of.
mean, any of the other ones
San
would sort of
Francisco
be the
has a lot
same
of
thing
hills.
as like you only know about it what you've seen. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to live in Paris because, like, I'm not a big fan of French laws in general. Just the French government right now is, I'm like, no. I'm going to go with London because I already speak English. That's where that's.
there you go.
Do that. What is your drink of choice? Beer, gin and tonic, white wine, cocktails, stout, or whiskey?
Mine's beer. Easy.
I'll go with white wine. White wine is tasty. Okay, just to clarify, do you like having sex with people of the same sex? I mean, you're using the wrong words there, friend. The options
Hey,
are no,
gender binaries, what the
really
fuck?
no. Yeah,
Sorry.
the other one is barely. The other one is sort of now and then. The other one is quite a lot. And I already told you, yes, I do. Then gender binaries, what the fuck? I'm going to press that one. That's the only one that, yeah,
I like that one.
me too. What's your ideal Saturday night? Clubbing till 5 a.m., dinner and theater, quiet drink with friends, doing something new, house party, or night in with Netflix? It's gonna be a thick night in with Netflix for me.
I think doing something new sounds really fun. I'm gonna go with that.
Can't relate.
Doing something
Next
new,
question.
but with an asterisk, only if I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be really good at it. Otherwise, I'm gonna hate it.
I have this thing where in my head things sound like fun. Like I'm like, oh man, I would love to go to a City and Color concert. But then I'm like, please don't actually come to Montreal because then I need to make the decision to not go and then I feel bad. I don't want to go. I just want to think about how nice it would be to go. So
I feel
next
that.
question. Oh, hang on. Have you ever felt sexually attracted to someone of the same sex? Okay, I see what they're doing here. You're not clever. So nope. This one time, yep, a bit, quite often. Yes, I have, obviously. Your questions are weird. Yeah, that's the one. Your questions are weird. That's the one I'm going to pick. So I'm like, why? Which U.S. president do you most identify with? Barack Obama, William Howard Taft, Ronald Reagan, Abe Lincoln, James Buchanan, or JFK? Oh, they didn't have it in the budget for his full name? Okay.
Shannon.
I don't know. I'm Canadian and confused. Help. Mom, come get me.
The other one is John F. Kennedy. I think it's Fitzgerald. Is
Yeah,
his
I
middle
know.
name. Or maybe it's Frederick. I don't know. I'm doing JFK because I watched him get assassinated. That's pretty. I don't know. I'm gonna end that sentence.
I want to go with Barack Obama because the only one I know anything about like their political policies on would be Barack Obama. But then I'm like, can I choose him? I'm going to choose him, but then also realize that I might be in for, I don't know. What's your favorite vegetable? Carrot? Jerusalem artichoke? Okay.
Carrot. One.
Carrot or Jerusalem artichoke? I don't know. One of them is flexing here. Potato, sweet potato, ginger, or beet.
Ooh,
there
sweet
might be some
potato.
other vegetables that are not here. Yeah, me too. Sweet potato. But I mean, Jerusalem artichoke sounds. I would taste that.
That sounds
Is it
fancy.
different from regular artichokes? If you could pick your ideal partner for a romantic date, what qualities would they have? They'd be the same sex as me. Preferably the same sex, but mostly, hot. Don't care about their sex, care about wine. Wow, all of these are great. Ideally, the opposite sex, but it's no biggie. They might be the opposite sex. You hear me? Then dates are boring. Is there one option for just could you rewrite this quiz? It's not hard. It's one word. Just change.
Yeah. Just do a find and replace.
Yeah.
Gender.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with. Could I change dates are boring to like dates are scary? I'm gonna pick that one, but just dates are scary. That's my answer.
Doing care about wine.
Good. Pick a weather phenomenon. Flooding, little fluffy clouds. Yeah, those are comparable. Sunshine, tornado, ball lightning.
I'd rather be
or
in a
big pretty rainbow.
Sorry, I would choose flooding over little fluffy clouds. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm going flooding.
Which one of these natural disasters? I don't know. I don't know if I would call that like okay. Ball lightning sounds really intimidating. I'm gonna choose that one just because I'd like to see it.
I like that one too. You've never seen that? I think it's like a.
Oh, what?
Do it.
No, just the next picture is butts. Just,
oh yeah, there's some butts. Down. Okay, I'm scrolling down. I chose flooding.
Oh, you prefer flooding over little fluffy clouds?
Yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Which sex is sexiest? Same sex as me, mostly all the same sex. All sexes are sexy. I'm gonna go with all sexes are sexy. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually a pretty cool slogan. Let's put that on a shirt for the podcast.
Then it's like all sexes are sexy. Then Ty Turner transsexual.
Yeah, from Ty Turner, the transsexual. We can cross over sexes and right.
Verified.
Just not even say anything. All are sexy.
Jerusalem artichoke.
All Jerusalem artichokes are sexy. Especially the transsexual ones.
Choose an arbitrary box. I'm going to go with the one that's this box. Because there's box A, box B, box 3, box 4, this box, and then screw your boxes.
I like box 3. It looks like a cool, it reminds me of like a logo. I like the number in it.
Oh God, why is this question so long? A plane leaves New York at 4:15 p.m. local time. You were so close to 4:20. You couldn't have done. You couldn't give us just that.
Don't read London. It. Just go to the very last. Nope. It's okay.
Is it bad?
No. I'm just saying. Just skip to the last sentence, like the very last thing after the comma. Airspeed.
Oh, okay. It has to do with wanting to be with someone of the same sex.
Mm-hmm. So it gives you like this long math problem, and then it switches and it says, if they maintain a constant airspeed, do you ever want to have sex with someone of the same sex? So just saving us all that event of you having to read all that.
Sorry for the terrible quiz, folks. We didn't write it or read it in advance. So there's that. I got my answer. You got traditional labels are meaningless. They're not wrong. I hope everyone gets the same answer. Is that the whole gist of the...
No, because I got a different one. Mine's kind of gay. That's what it is.
Sorry, something about the kind of gay. It's so apathetic. It's kind of, I guess.
Yeah, kind of. You're kind of gay. Thanks. I guess that's pretty accurate, but you could have worded it better. Huh. Thanks a lot, BuzzFeed.
That just about wraps up this week's podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know what you think. Don't yell at us over talking about oppression. Look, I'm trying. It's very hard. It's scary to talk on a podcast because they're unscripted, unedited. It's, talking about oppression in the first place on a podcast is like playing with fire. Because I'm like, will I say everything correctly? No. And even when I catch myself saying something wrong, where I'm just like, oh, wait, I shouldn't equate genitals with sex. I'm like, it's already out there now, and I'm not going to edit it out because that's the whole point of the podcast. So, yeah, just be nice. Thanks. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, same here. Sometimes I don't think about what I'm saying, and then I listen to it back, and I'm like, oh, that was wrong. But I don't think very critically in the moment. I just kind of talk because I get nervous. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm open to correcting myself. I'm not saying you can't call me if I say something inappropriate. I know that it's not the most formally or eloquently phrased thing. It's just, because it's a podcast. So just thanks for being nice about it. Thanks. I appreciate it. That's the whole thing.
Thank you guys for listening. follow us on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes.
Heck yeah.
And give us a nice 5-star rating. Leave a comment. Fill out the quiz and let us know how gay you are. Or maybe just do a different quiz because this one wasn't great.
Yeah. You know what? Find a quiz and let us know what your results were. We don't even need to know what the quiz was. Just give us your results.
It doesn't have to have anything to do with this. Just take a
Which
quiz.
level lamp would you be?
Exactly.
Yeah. We just need to know. Cool.
All right.
Have a nice week.
Peace out. And do well with yourself.
Do karate.
Or taekwondo.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah, goodbye.
Yeah.
This is over.
Bye.